on people trying to get rid of their debt through all of these discharge methods, bills of exchange. And I basically said that those methods don't work, okay? A lot of people get caught up with that. They're new to the information. That's the first thing they usually run into because why? They have problems paying their bills, so they hear these methods and it sounds good. They go for it and realize that it doesn't work, end up losing their property. So let me give you some tips on how to keep your property, how to properly deal with debt in a situation where they're trying to get your car, get your home, coming at you with credit card debt, debt collectors are suing you. I want you to understand you have the absolute power in all of these situations. You have the absolute power in all of these situations. And here's why. Leo, when a debt collector is coming after you, they are a third party, meaning they have no firsthand knowledge of any of the transactions that took place. Now, let me help you understand what a third party also is. A third party could be some law firm. It could be a third party can be the actual company that's coming after you if they have a collections department. That's a third party debt collector. The original contract is with the original entity you decided to contract with. So typically, your money, they send you letters. If you get a letter in the mail, you must respond to it within 30 days or they'll consider that dead valid. You must dispute. But you need to dispute in a specific way. A lot of these letters floating around on the internet are going to be considered, it's a term that they use. They have AI look at these letters and they'll just send you a generic response. You want to get a response that's favorable to you. So when you do your debt collector letter, handwriting is great. Go back to handwriting. They want you to type everything. Handwriting. Tip number one. Number two, remember the debt collector has no first-hand knowledge of your debt. He's just assuming that whoever gave him that file is right. Who says that those debts in the computer are accurate? Almost 99.9% of the time, they're never accurate. These companies' billing systems do have errors. And if there's an error, you have a right to challenge it. You might even know what the error is, but you can still challenge. Now, let's just say it gets to the part where you're being sued. Come here. By a debt collector. That's even better. Because they're going to send an attorney in there who has no absolute knowledge, no first-hand knowledge of the facts. You challenge that. They must have the full accounting of that account from zero. General principles of accounting is a certain accounting method. They must have that. Plus, who is this guy coming here questioning you about a debt? Saying you owe money. They never have anybody from the bank there. They'll get an affidavit saying somebody got some nonsense in their computer, but you can still beat that. You could beat a debt collector in court 100% of the time, turn around and sue them and make money. I don't have time to go through all the details of that. But if you want to know, get a consultation. AkeemL.com to be on the screen, and I'll break it down for you, how to go after these debt collectors when they're coming at you. But you have to put in the work. And you can win 100% of the time and put some money in your pocket. Peace. All right, peace, everybody. All right, peace, everybody. It's me again, Akeem from Hindsight Radio. This is a part two to my bills, accepted for value and how I was warning you against those things. Just want to give you an experience of someone I knew who owned a lot of properties. They had about 11 properties that they were trying these methods with. And the husband, at some point, the husband got smart and said, this is nonsense, and he gave up, which is okay. He didn't want to food anymore. Instead of working things out properly so that they can keep the house, the wife decided to pursue these things. She was holding things up in court. Eventually, long story short, they lost all of those properties. Okay? Through foreclosure. 11 properties. They stopped paying the mortgages because they went to these little dumbass classes talking about you could discharge your house, how they made you a tenant when you signed off on a mortgage. Now, let me be clear. That's the truth. They do convert you into a tenant when you do the mortgage through that big packet of paperwork. All of that's true. But here's the problem with trying to discharge a home. It's against national security. And they've said it in this is an old case that they use to try to defend these methods. But these idiots never read the whole case. Yes, a lawyer went into court. He won in the lower court with his arguments. But then it got to this, what they don't tell you, it gets to the Supreme Court and they overturn it. In the Supreme Court case, if anybody can remember the name of the case, I can't have it on my computer, but just put it in the chat for me. I'll find it and put it in there. But the Supreme Court specifically said that the lower court erred in doing these, overturning that mortgage. They're also stated in there it's national security for any court to award a house to someone in that method that he was using. And here's why, and people don't understand why it's against national security. Because all mortgages are wrapped and bundled together. They become mutual funds and they basically become securities on the market. So if everyone challenged their mortgage and the court allowed everyone to win their home through the court, it would collapse our economy. We already saw instances of this 2008. That's what caused our collapse. The mortgages. People not being able to keep up with their mortgages. If people don't pay the mortgages, it collapses. The system collapses off of that. Okay? Think about it. Then the bank's going to need bailouts. They didn't bail you out. Or they gave you a couple of $100, but they gave the banks bailouts. But why? Why do they have to bail out the banks? Who, for instance, never gave anybody any money. Just put that out there. Because it's a system. It's going to support the entities that support sustaining the system. You on the bottom end of this whole matrix. You die, they get paid because they got a death benefit on you. You didn't know that, right? You just a little guy who's a wage earner, you're expendable. But the banks are the big players. They need that system in order to keep the game going. If the banks fail, they fail. Okay? Stay tuned for part 3. Peace. All right, peace, everybody. It's me again. I came from Hindsight Radio. All right. Welcome to another episode of Unbound Soul with myself, Akeem L. and Raquel. How are you doing? You were
I'm
busy
good.
today, weren't you?
Busy, and it was, working outside. It was like 100 degrees today, and it was
Yeah.
really an exhausting day.
I'm moving a number around here. Yeah, it was hot today. I didn't really go outside, but my AC was working overtime today. So, yeah, it was hot. It's supposed to cool down later in the week. We're supposed to get some drastic drop in temperatures in New York. It's supposed to go down to around 70 by the
That's
weekend.
weird.
Yeah. So,
That's natural.
yeah. But it's going to be coming with some thunderstorms, which they expect flash flooding in New York, New Jersey. New Jersey is already having had some flooding. So they're expecting some cool downs with thunderstorms. Kind of weird, isn't it?
Very weird. Very, very
So
weird.
these
But
thunderstorms
you had the earthquake
in
in
Russia.
Russia,
Yeah.
and you have the tsunami warnings.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it's just all a coincidence.
I don't know. It's a coincidence, but I think something is building up for something.
Yeah. Well,
So,
people will just say it's just a coincidence. I've had
yeah.
friends that keep on saying, they keep on texting me, oh, Raquel, it's just a coincidence. It's like, okay, sure.
Okay, let's see. Because New Jersey already had a lot of flooding, if I'm not mistaken,
Hmm. There was a good
and they're
amount of flooding.
expecting it to be flooded again this coming weekend.
Well, I guess the subways in New York will be flooded too.
Yeah, nah, yeah, I would think so. That's weird. That
Yeah.
tsunami eight. It was a category 8 earthquake, something like that.
In Russia, 8.7.
8.7, and
Hmm.
the tsunami must have come, but it wasn't too bad, I guess. But you know what? Remember a couple of weeks ago, I read an article about they was expecting some type of tsunami to hit California, and then this week an earthquake. It's weird. All
Yeah.
right, so today we're talking about, what's the topic we're talking about today?
So I'm not sure if you've seen a lot of posts on Julian Brown, a self-proclaimed inventor.
No, I have not. Not familiar with it.
So I had something prepared, something different, but being that this keeps on coming up, I feel like it's important to discuss this.
Mm-hmm.
So Julian Brown is an inventor. He's 21 years old,
Right.
and he's been missing for 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, you sent me that. Okay, all right, I read that.
Hmm. Right.
Excuse me. Yeah,
So
I read that.
he's been working on this invention, like a reactor. Now he has no formal training in engineering,
Mm-hmm.
so he's just a prodigy. And so at the age of 17, he started making a reactor that
Hmm.
would convert plastic back to petroleum
Okay.
because plastic is made out of petroleum.
Right.
So for him, it's cheap because it's already here. It exists. You just need this reactor. You don't have to dig up more oil from the ground. It solves the trash and plastic epidemic we have on a global scale.
Right.
Like you even have trash islands in the Pacific, and you're finding fish and all sorts of sea life with plastic in their stomachs. So this is his way of making the world a better place.
Right.
So I thought it was fascinating that even though he does not care, he's like, this is what I'm meant to do. And I feel like this is a message we all need to hear is we need to acknowledge and live the life that we're meant to live. We live in too much fear. So I wanted to start off with two Bible verses that um, essentially explain that. Hang on a second. So the first one is Ephesians 2:10. For
Mm-hmm.
we are God's handiwork. So we are God's handiwork.
Mm-hmm.
We are his hands, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we were all given a mission and a purpose, right?
Right.
And then you have Colossians 3:23. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters.
Mhm. Right. That means that tells you something about a job. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of us are working for human masters because we feel like we need to pay the bills, we need to feed our kids, and I get it because
Mm-hmm.
we've all been there. I'm still kind of sort of there. And truth be told, I was offered something where I'd be making more money doing the same thing, and I can't take it because I believe, or there's some indication that this agency is unscrupulous and is tied
Right.
to harm in other parts of the world.
Right. Right.
So it's like, how can I be here working with children who are marginalized and I'm supporting this agency to marginalize other children.
Mm, mm, right.
Right? So integrity definitely goes a long way. And if I am God's, handiwork, my hands are meant to work in service to
Mm,
God and his
mm,
children, how can I do something that will contribute to the harm? Which sadly, we all do things that contribute to harm because we have such an entangled
right.
society. But when you're aware of it and you can make that change,
Right. That's what
you
makes
know,
it's when you're aware of it. When you're aware.
hmm
Right.
right.
Um, just to go back to what you were saying about we are working for human masters. The reason why we are in that position is because that's what we're taught from the very beginning. That we need to get an education and get a job. That
hmm
is mantra that is repetitively reinforced from the time we're young. Even the children act out different jobs. You want to be a police officer, fireman. We 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 they pretend to be these working for people. And
hmm
if you watch children's shows, all of it is geared towards promoting that child to go work for a corporation. It's always some profession. You
hmm
very I can't remember any shows when I was young that promoted self-employment. So just think of this as a little kid. What do you want to be when you grow up? That's one of the questions every kid gets asked. And throughout his life, what are you going to do after school? And that question is very, I think, manipulative when you ask that question, because in the person's mind, when they're asking that question, they're expecting to hear something about a job. Something, what job? Oh, that's great. I remember I was saying a couple of weeks ago, my daughter didn't really know what she wanted to do. When she was just tired of the questions about what she wanted to do, and I wasn't putting any pressure on her. I think once I think when a child, once they finish that 12 years, it's okay to take a little time to decide what you want to do, because what happens, most kids come right out, go into college, and then they flunk out that first semester of college because they just rushed right into that. And but then when she finally decided at the last minute she was going to go to school and learn about cybersecurity, everybody was, wow, that's great. That's a good profession. She'll get paid a lot of money, you know. But when I had mentioned, hey, she's got a website, she does Vedic astrology, she's really into that, they weren't too excited to hear all of that.
hmm
But there's people making living doing that. When I
hmm
went to Sedona, these people, this is what they do all day. They set appointments and they make a living giving people
hmm
readings.
hmm
So, but the issue, only probably a lot of these people who've gone into that was already into a regular job first, and then they transitioned into something like that. And that's what's unfortunate. We don't transition into our own working for ourselves and relying on God to give us our income. We transition to taking on a human master. That's
hmm
our first go to.
hmm
And if I were to do it all over again, have some children, more children, if I would, that's a not within my thinking, but I would definitely start with homeschooling, um, proper eating, and promoting self reliance on income when it comes to money. Promoting that, teaching that from the very beginning.
So, are we using income or are we using wages?
Wait, well, in wages wages is what you get paid when you go to a job.
hmm
Income is what a company makes. They get, well, revenue. We could call it revenue. Revenue. Yeah. Generate revenue. or generate some currency. Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
mean, I would say currency is probably more accurate because then
yeah,
it's about energy.
it currency is more accurate. So
Yeah.
all right.
So, getting back to Julian, since we mentioned energy, and people like him. So, I'm not sure if you had a chance to look at the video that I had sent you, but he's saying I I may not live very long because I'm going to be a major disruptor.
Right.
And when you look at the people from the past that have, shared their new inventions that could disrupt this industry, the petroleum industry,
Hmm.
they were unalived.
Right.
Stanley Meyer. Some people in your audience may know who Stanley Meyer is, where a car could run on water.
Yeah. A couple of people
And
came out with those and they didn't last.
right, so he was meeting with investors, and then um, in the restaurant, he went. I don't know who he went to, but he went to someone. He says, "I was poisoned," and then he just died.
Hmm.
Another guy, what was his name? Aaron Salter. He happened to be unalived at a shooting in Buffalo, a mass shooting.
Hmm.
And a few weeks
Oh yeah,
before,
that's
he
right.
was,
That's the guy that was in the Walmart. It was in some type of convenience store.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
right. So he was another person that was talking about how to use water as fuel.
Hmm.
So my point is with that is these people had this mission and they never swayed or relented from this mission.
Hmm.
And are we living in our mission?
Mm. That's a good question.
You know, here we are, we're living for human masters, but if there was more of us who are living in our mission, what type of change would
Be
that
for
would happen in our society? It would literally
oh,
transform society.
we would things would be done a lot differently. I think people leave be less stressed out. So
Yes. Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
yeah.
They'd be less stressed out. They would be less entangled into something that
Hmm.
doesn't make them happy.
Right.
But what are the things that they use? At least in Julian's case, when he was talking this video, they sent the EPA on him. He didn't go into details, but the IRS, they sent the IRS on him. So,
Because
being that you have more familiarity on that, how can they use the IRS?
uh they could use the IRS to say that if he's making money, that's the only way I can see some type of revenue thing. Um that's the only thing I could think of. It has to do with him not reporting some type of income or wages according to their definition. I don't see how the IRS fits into an invention.
Yeah,
Just
I don't either. It's very interesting.
yeah. But
Yeah.
it's just
So,
that's just wicked. People do not want you. That's why you have to really be working in secret. Work in secret. When it comes to stuff like that, you have to keep it under your hat and basically get some protection for yourself. Yeah.
right. But then you work in secret, but when do you finally release this? Like, this is not meant to be
That's the
kept.
challenge. That's the challenge because even if you release it in secret, somebody's going to get the word out. There's no way it's going to stay hidden. Someone's going to share it. So it's tough to I mean, they did it regardless of the danger of doing it,
Hmm.
whether they knew it or not. I don't know if they realize how treacherous the big corporations are when it comes to keeping that money flowing. See,
Right.
they went from see back in the day, a lot of the inventions that a lot of Europeans are being credited with are stolen inventions from the natives.
Right. Well, they just patented it. They didn't
They
invent it. They just
patented,
did the
yeah,
patents.
and called it. They didn't think of it.
Theirs.
Um, so that's a tough thing to really say what should they have done better to not. be unalive.
And and it's like, what should they have? What could they have done better, or what could we be doing better as a whole? Because if there was
Well,
more of us,
we like we're talking about it. No one's doing anything about it. We know that they got set up. We just talk about it. No one mobilizes to stop it, put a stop to it. And the question is, what do you do? How do you stop it? It's only one. To me, it's only one solution to stop it. And without me saying it on the air, I can't. But there's only one way to handle that. Because how are they coming at you with aggression and violence? Is how do you stop aggression and violence? You have to meet force with force. So, but that takes what do you call um the word I want to use? Community, people protecting each other. But unfortunately, you know this, that most people are programmed to protect the system more than protect community.
hmm
You know that. You've seen it in your own case when you had the arrest. They didn't think they were protecting the system, but they were when they told you, "Why did you do that? Why did you just do this?" That's protecting the system, whether you
hmm
realize it or not. You're protecting the fact that you know they're doing wrong, but to keep you from having problems, you're gonna let them violate your rights, and so you don't have the harm.
hmm
So that's protecting the system
our fear is protecting
out of fear, right?
the system. Yeah, and that's what he was saying in his one of his videos. You know, he says, "I don't fear death. What I fear is allowing an idea. I don't fear death. I fear an idea that may not exist or happen."
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, I'm going to keep on doing this because if I live in fear, what have I done? Like what's I haven't fulfilled on my mission. I haven't fulfilled on my
It was
purpose
meant
and my
was to
passion.
get the word out. So that
hmm
means that he's probably the point where he made the invention, it got out there, and now we see how wicked the system could be. So it made the awareness is there.
Right.
You see?
I mean, we're seeing how wicked the things are in so many fronts.
Oh, it's wicked.
And oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's just how people are just so flippant about it. I was reading through a post. I read through comments because I happen to learn a lot through comments.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was this woman who she's pregnant with her 11th child.
Mm. It's a lot of
She
pregnancy.
homes, yeah, she homeschools. She's an entrepreneur. I think she lives off the land. Um, she has a very stoic presence. I wouldn't even say a loving presence. She has a very stoic presence that to some degree makes me a little uncomfortable. But
Mm.
there was a woman who had, because she has such a big platform and she's always talking about medical tyranny and how, we have to protect children. This woman asked her if she could say something about what was happening in
Mm.
Gaza.
Mm.
And her reply was so cold.
Mm.
It was like, well, I care about all children. So what you want me to say? Save Gaza? Fine. Is that going to make you happy? Now
Mm.
just get off of my page and stop following me. Your energy is not needed. And it's just like
Mm.
everyone gets so offended, or everyone, just wants to block things so easily. And this is why we keep on having so many problems. We're
Mm.
not seeing how everything is connected.
Mm-hmm.
you
Right.
know how having human masters makes us all connected, right? Because we're not doing our own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything at some level is connected.
Mm.
Why are we so quick to act like it's not our problem instead of trying to understand? Now if you say it's overwhelming and I'm working on other things, that's fine. But to just be so dismissive, and it's not just this woman, it's plenty of people.
Right.
Um, obviously because of the depravity that we have in this world, too many people have dismissed it for too long, and
Mm-hmm.
this is where we're at. So it's like, when are we going to hold ourselves accountable?
Mm. That's the big question. That is the big question. And unfortunately, the program is running so deep, most
Hmm.
will not wake up to even any. They will. Most people won't wake up, and then the people, ones, some that do wake up, will just not do anything. That kind of see what's going on. They will
Hmm.
allow things to continue as they are. It's one thing I like to say is the system needs people. This system needs people in order for it to operate. So that
Hmm.
means, where is the real power? Where is your real power? We have the power, because if we stop
Hmm.
participating, that's it. Game over
Hmm.
for the system. The
Hmm.
problem is, you can't get enough people to stop participating to stop the game from going. Although the system is prepared, has contingencies if that ever happens. It does have contingencies, and its contingencies is fear, intimidation, and bullying. That's all it really has. Just like in your
Hmm.
situation, it was bullying. And these people really don't think they're bullying. I'm following the law. It's bullying.
Hmm.
And bullying is what they use to keep people in check. So, and I think largely why most people just fall in line is simply because of the fact that, hang on a second, like somebody's at my door. Um, Simply because they don't know who they are. They don't know their purpose.
Hmm.
I'm saying that's why most people do what they do. They don't have any other thought process going. What is there's some people. Um they all they see is they are so bombarded with the programming they can't see their real purpose. So they think that is their purpose, to have a career, to work for a boss and be that success, that I make six-figure income from working from somebody,
Hmm.
or seven, whatever your income is. That's why they can't see their truth or their purpose of how they live. Like these people that you're talking about, this young man, that was his purpose, was to invent and figure that out. And he's not the first one to figure that out, but
Hmm.
that was his purpose, to live his life that way, regardless of all of the dangers and that was put in front of him. He still
Hmm.
followed through with that. That was a huge sacrifice.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
And I'm hoping he's still with us. Supposedly, his mother came out and said he's safe, but has to keep a very low profile. I don't know. It seems a
so maybe
little.
that's what it is. He's just staying out of the harm's way.
I mean, these type of people find their find their way. So I don't know.
Right.
But I'm hoping, just for the sake of humanity. But
Mm,
yeah, like, we just really do need to start living in our purpose.
mm,
We need to be authentic. I think you had sent me the post, right? About authenticity being the highest frequency.
hmm. Okay.
And so how
Yeah, but go ahead. Go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
no, no, but how can we say, we're living well when we're not living in our highest vibration because we're not authentic?
Mhm. Now, what
And
does
that
that
is
mean to be authentic? That's the question. What does that
everyone's
mean to be authentic?
yeah, everyone's different.
Like, well, when I look at authenticity, is, let's just say you're in a relationship and you're presented with something by your partner. Do you not be authentic so you can spare their feelings? How that's to me authenticity is saying the truth regardless if it's unpopular.
Well, it also depends on how you deliver the truth
Well,
because
you
there are people who are
deliver it
just
in a
cruel in
kind
their
way.
delivery.
You don't be cruel about it. What I'm saying is
Right.
sometimes things need to be said, but we won't say it because we don't want to hurt feelings. So we're not being true. And we know, you think about it, every time you didn't say something you know you needed to say, how you felt about that. You felt some type of, it's like you lost something in yourself by not expressing yourself authentically. Unless you're a person without a soul or conscience, it might not bother you if you don't really care.
Right.
But I know when there was times I really should have said something, regardless of the opposition I was going to receive. I didn't feel I didn't feel genuine about it. So now I try to be as genuine as possible without um being harsh with it, you know?
Hmm. Right. Um, yeah. I mean, tact is important, but sometimes you have to give a blunt response because some
Right.
people aren't just going to get it.
Right. Well, I think and being authentic, as to what I was saying is if you're authentic, you spare yourself those feelings of regret that you didn't say anything. You see, although you might get some
Mhm.
flack from it, you still will feel good about yourself. I said it, and you have to get to the point, well, I'm going to say something that people would disagree with, and they may not accept it, but I'm going to speak it anyway if it's necessary. It's not all times you need to say something, but in some instances, you have to say something. You should say something,
Hmm.
if when it's necessary. So
Hmm.
that's authentic to me. Authentic is also working in as putting yourself in a situation or working situation that you are truly connected to.
Hmm.
Most people who have jobs, they're not connected to those jobs. It's just a job to pay bills. It's there because they feel like they have to do it. That's they're not being authentic.
Hmm.
Because most people can't wait to get off. The moment they get up, they can't wait to get off from work. But if you're in a field that you love, you don't mind doing it.
Right.
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 So, but go ahead.
It's like that song "Working for the Weekend." Everybody's
Right.
working for the
Working for the
weekend.
weekend.
I remember even when I was a kid, I was like, "Oh my god, who wants to
Oh,
like
cool.
waste their life living in misery 5 days a week and only enjoying two, but then even living in misery part of those 2 days because you dread going back." Like this is even me as a kid.
Right. But adults do it every day. We do it. I
Mhm.
mean, both of us has done it, dreading that. It was exciting to get a first job, but then after a few weeks, we're like, what is this? Right? Like, what is this? It's day in, day out, day in, the same thing over and over, just making enough money to pay the bills.
Mhm.
That gets old quick.
Yeah.
Like what I do now, I enjoy what I do most of the time. And then the times I'm not enjoying it, that's because I'm not appreciating that I'm in a position that most people are not in, where I
Mhm.
control most of my time. And I feel like some days I squander it. Somebody said the
Yeah.
number's not on the screen. It is.
It is.
It's right above my head. Y'all can't see it?
I don't know. Maybe it needs to be like yellow or something. Like the school bus yellow.
Yeah, I was trying to make it because the backgrounds are so different. I
Yeah.
was trying to make it where you can see it, but it's right there. Somebody must want to call in. What is he might be on some other device. But go ahead while I'm doing this.
Yeah. No, it's just for me, like you were saying, you have control over your time. Me, so I worked in corporate America for a little bit.
Mm,
And I was in workman's comp. Like I used to handle the claims,
mm-hmm.
and I hated being a paper pusher. But what I did was, even though I was working for a human master, I saw it differently in that I was doing my best to help people heal after
Mm,
work injuries, whereas most people in my position would give people a hard time to save the company money.
mm-hmm. Right.
And I was like, I'm here to actually make sure these people are okay and getting the services that they're supposed to get. And hence, people who were claimants would call me and they're just like, why are you in this job? Because we've had other injuries and you're the nicest person and you actually are making sure I get what I'm supposed to get. And I'm like, well, that's what we're supposed to do. That's
That's
working
it.
in
Right.
integrity and being authentic. Like I want to make sure I'm of service, not trying to have this company profit. Um, and then eventually, I transitioned to becoming an occupational therapist.
Right.
And I honestly, it's not easy because you're working with families who many times are struggling. You know,
Oh,
what?
sorry. I'm trying to copy and paste, and every time I do that, it makes that noise. I don't know what that just started out of nowhere, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, I work with marginalized families and they struggle. Um, but for me, I'm just like, man, I get paid to actually help children excel. I get paid to to use play to help these children and to laugh with these children. So I consider myself very fortunate. Yes, I'm working for an agency, I'm a contractor, so
Mm-hmm.
I do have more control over my time, but I don't even think people do that. Like, it's like clock in, clock out. And it's like,
I can't
what?
wait.
You can still leave a legacy, even if you are working for a company.
You gotta be
How can you
happy.
leave a legacy?
Mm-hmm. You can. Yeah,
And a lot
but
of people just,
most people are not happy with their jobs. That means
mm-mm.
that they feel like they're not working in their purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're working in your purpose, which you feel like you're called to do, you would show up happy.
Right.
You would show up and be excited.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked many jobs, right? This is the longest run of a job. I've never worked, this is 10 years I've been doing this.
Mm.
So this is the longest run that I've had in any job. I think the longest, well, being a barber, I've, 20 some odd years as a barber, I guess. But it was always, my longevity was always in a business I owned. But as far as working jobs, I think the longevity I had in one job was 3 years, tops, four, maybe, you know. But how do you, now being in this position, I'm like, how do people, just work these jobs? How do they, one day you're going to get older and you're going to stop working. And then you're going to be looking back where you were until you're now and all of the activities you did in between that time. You're going to, I know it's going to be like, I should have did something different. You know,
Mm-hmm. And it's
reality sets
so,
in.
you this week you have your ebook coming out,
Yeah.
how to set up a ministry. How many people actually live their life as a ministry?
Not many. A lot of them don't really get what I'm talking about. They're so churched up mentally that they think the only
Mhm.
ministry is the church, the building. That's
Right.
it.
Well, that's a dogma. That's a
Right. The
dogma, right?
dogma, yes. Yeah.
And so, a few years ago, after I lost my job with the DOE because I did not take a certain medical intervention that they were mandating in New York City,
Mhm.
I worked briefly in a clinic as a contractor, and the owner of the clinic just watched me work. And then, my last client leaves, and he says, Raquel, your work is a ministry. And I was
Mhm.
like, what? He said, you don't realize the love you're putting into these families. I watched you work. You are not doing this just as like a means to get by.
Mm,
You are doing this because you want a legacy. You are doing this in servitude. You are a walking, talking ministry.
mm,
And not like I always really cared about what I did and knew that I could help make a difference, but I never thought of myself, what I do, and how I live as a ministry.
right, right. Yeah, it is.
Jesus lived his life as a ministry and
Mhm,
was like, this is my purpose,
mhm.
knowing that his life was at risk.
And I think if you live your life as a ministry, you'll never go broke. You never go hungry. Never. Because once people, I know what I'm doing, people just come up and they want to help you
Hmm.
because they see the work you're putting in.
Hmm.
Yeah. Because of, you know, that the help you're helping people accomplish things. Tangibly, they can see the results of what they're getting.
Hmm.
So, and when I got the call to set up the do it as a church was like, actually it probably started in 2012 before I even had a hindsight radio, because I didn't really kick off hindsight radio until 2015. And I was doing my shows, and I was what's it's funny to watch you. It's not it's funny, and let me just not say funny. It's it makes me happy to see when you pull out the scriptures and you read from the Bible and you associate it with the shows, because that's exactly how I used to do 10 years ago when I first started
Oh.
doing this. I would pull up the scripture, and yes, I still do it. I haven't done it as of late. I did Sunday, I did. But when we did our started our shows and you open up with those scriptures, I said, man, this is like exactly how I started when I started. And do you realize, I want you to see something. It was in 2015 I started Hindsight Radio. So when we did our first show, it's 10 years.
Hmm.
10 years, 2015. Almost the same month, because we actually started back in like February, but it didn't really kick off until like April, May, June, and it really start really taking off. And I'm like, this is synchronicity here. We started off, got a new host, and you're doing exactly what I did when I first started my shows. I would think of scriptures and have topics to say. So I'm like, wow, this is and it's actually reminded me of the
Hmm.
roots, because the roots of this something is what's important, because that's what's going to keep the tree standing straight up.
Hmm.
Um, so I could tell this is your calling, what you're doing, with your children, but the way you host talk on the show, your flow, this is. I said, I just sit back and I look at it. She
I
don't even
hope.
realize how good and powerful she's going to be with this. So, but
I
yeah,
hope so. I mean, I've had parents over the years tell me that I need to be an occupational therapist on a bigger scale
right,
because um, working individually with parents, my reach is limited.
right. So
You
there's
know,
this so a whole bunch of ideas rolled through my head as we were talking. We'll talk about that later. Um,
yeah.
but you 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 know what you're calling when you just flow into it. You don't feel forced. You don't feel
Mhm.
it just feels natural.
That's when you know you're working in your purpose. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
has a purpose. That's the problem. I think people, why they don't find their purpose, is because they're so bogged down with other things and they won't take the time to look for that purpose. That's why meditation, and Karina got on me the other day about my meditations. I've been real bad with it. It's just, I gotta do better with it. But um when you really in your calling, it just flows. And
Mm-hmm.
not to say that, like with your job, you probably get tired, right? You probably like, man, I got 10 people to see today. And you think about that. But once
Yeah.
you get into it and you're doing it in the middle, you just, the energy comes and you get through it, you know.
Yeah.
So
There's 3 times when I feel really exhausted looking for parking
oh,
here
that's
in New
New
York
York.
City.
Okay, that's
Because
always
that right there just drains you. Having to walk up
steps.
5, 6 flights because there's no elevator in the building,
Yeah, wow, that sucks. Yeah.
or the elevator may not work properly, or there's stuff in there that smells really bad.
Right.
uh, and having parents who are highly critical of you rather
Mhm.
than working with you or working with
Right.
me.
Right.
And
I,
I even
I,
had that this past week where the parent was like, well, my child doesn't act like that with any of the other therapists. And I'm like, so this is my fourth session with your child. I'm like, you want him to be my best friend? Like
mm,
some kids take a while. Um,
mhm.
so yeah, yeah, those are things that are tiring, but also that's like a trial, right? We
Mm,
cannot become good at what we do without going through trials. Period. That is, if you want to grow in life, you have to have trials. So it's like, okay, so this parent doesn't isn't pleased with how I am with their child. What can I modify? Or do I need to reach out to the parent more because they don't have a very good understanding, or maybe they're just unhappy. Like there's so many different reasons, or maybe I'm just not meant to work with that family, which
mhm.
that happens. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's a lot of trials. I mean, I work with kids who bite me, who scratch me,
I
who
mean,
almost given me
even
a
though you working in your
concussion.
purpose, it does have challenges still, you know. So
Yeah,
you're not gonna escape challenges even when you're working in a field that you love, you
yeah,
know. So that's gonna be there.
yeah, yeah.
Let me just throw in here, you know, if y'all want to call in, the numbers on the top, 717-734-6904. Make sure you enter that show ID 719-3581. And some people were saying some stuff in the chat. Let's see what they're saying.
Yeah.
Um Yazidia Bay says peace. Indie Circle Ministry says peace, guys. Somebody about the young man, he said he's sitting a post where the mom said he was okay staying low key.
Yeah, which
So
I had said so. Yeah.
um Jody Stickamo says greetings back to you. ND Circle Ministry said my daughter graduated from our honeymoon school and doesn't want to go to college, and people cut up. LOL. Yes, they don't. When you don't follow the protocol, people like, what are you gonna do? They just think so. Those dire thoughts, like you're just gonna be a bum because you don't get a job.
Hmm.
They think the worst. You have to sell the patent to your trust and only take donation as a nonprofit. I guess we're talking about inventions. Sell a patent to your trust and take donation
Hmm.
as a nonprofit. Okay, I guess he's talking about saving on so he won't be taxed. If we had not
Oh, the
changed
IRS bit.
the IRS, if we have not changed the method of how we do business, we keep losing because these people want to eat. They sell these large corporations because they think about the money first. Yes, they sell the large
Hmm.
corporation because the corporation feeds the system. It has
Hmm.
employees. It takes your money out before you can get it and give it to the government. That's why the
Hmm.
corporations are being pushed And then Indie Circle Ministry says, my bad, congratulations on the ebook, brother. Thank you. And someone says, Peace, Unbound Soul. And then Most Hated Bronze says, salute to everyone. Salute back to you. All right. There's your chat.
So,
Oh,
you had mentioned about the corporations.
mm-hmm.
Are you aware, or at least I've seen different astrophysicists talking about this. Now, to be an astrophysicist, you must be brilliant.
Right.
So they, in the universities, they are paid peanuts, pennies. And the reason being is they're trying to push them into poverty so that way they will basically sell their souls and work for
So they can
the industrial complex,
right. They can promote.
the
Right.
military industrial complex.
Mm-hmm. Mm. They can promote what the government wants them to promote. Say what the government want them to say. And
The
even if they
events.
get bad, they had I think Obama wrote it into a law where if you have a certain skill set and we're facing some type of natural disaster or some type of what do you call government breakdown or societal breakdown, that they can come and take you out of your home and you have to work for the government to get things back in order. That was yeah, I forgot the name of that bill. Yeah.
That's really
If
disturbing.
you have certain skill sets, they already got you pegged. They come get you to rebuild society.
How do they monitor you? How do they know?
Well, you go to school, you get the degrees. You're in a database. You register in driver's license. They know who you are. And sure, on just regular applications, they want to know what's your what kind of profession are you in? They
Mm,
ask that, but they know who's got the
mm,
credential because all that stuff's in the database.
okay.
They know. So
So, um, Lionsgate.
that's next week,
It's
right?
we're in it.
We're in Lionsgate. Okay,
We're in it.
that's. I'm feeling like the energy is different today than it was yesterday.
it yeah, yesterday for me it was very heavy,
Right.
very
It
very
was for me
heavy.
too. But today
Yeah.
I felt like
Lighter.
yes, and then I felt
Mhm.
really open, and then I actually went to the Lexus dealership just to look at these because I'm looking at this one car that I want to swap out the car I have now. Then I just wanted to see what the trunk space was like.
Mhm.
Just and like I haven't been in a car dealership in a long time, and I'm like I felt very wealthy today for some reason. I was like, this is different. This energy today was
Perfect.
totally different. You know?
Perfect. Well,
Yeah.
you're feeling wealthy because you are wealthy. We're all
Yes.
wealthy if we
But
choose to claim it.
yes, you got to claim it, and I do that. But over the last months, it's been a challenge to stay in that mindset.
Hmm.
It's been a challenge. But today, I felt like I shifted back to where my mind was in wealth states. It was just an ease thought, nothing blocking. It just felt yeah, and I hadn't felt that in a long time. Like felt that. But what I also thought is just the fact that I went to a luxury car dealership and just was hanging around luxury. And I think and I was saying to myself, maybe that's what it is. We need to go and be around luxury. And if you're talking about prosperity, you got to be in the midst of prosperity. You know, I think that added to it, just going in somewhere. And you ever read the book Think and Grow Rich? And in that
A
book,
long time ago, yeah.
yeah, it talked about doing just that. Just go to a luxury car dealer, test drive a car, get in it, smell it, feel it, and yeah, I just being in an energy. And they had in that dealership, they had just did some upgrades. It looked like a top notch dealership.
Right, right.
So,
So
and
it's
I think
important.
yeah,
Yeah,
go
no, go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead.
I think this is just a message to those of you who may be struggling with keeping that wealthy mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Environment has a lot to do with staying in that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just you can't be in an environment that screams poverty expecting to stay in a wealthy mindset.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to get out there and put yourself in a position where you can receive that wealth. Just a quick story. I was living in, I don't know if I ever mentioned this to you or told you. I was living in a apartment complex, Section 8, where it goes according to your income, right? They look at your
Mm-hmm.
income, that's what your rent is going to be, right? I was working at the time, I was in school when I ended up moving in this place, in the barbering school. And I started to work. Eventually, I ended up working in a barbershop and I was making good money. And I'm sitting down, literally, trying to figure out how to not let these people know I'm making all this money now. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then something said, you are literally trying to keep yourself in a poverty position. And I just stopped doing that. And I went look for a house. And that house, it was really the next day because it was a Saturday when the thought hit me. And
Wow.
that Sunday, I put the earnest money down on the house, and I still have own that house to this day. So, and I really feared how was I going to be able to afford the mortgage because that was the most I've ever paid for any type of monthly expenses on a home. Right, that was the most, and it was on like right now the mortgage is that house mortgage is like 600 with taxes, maybe in taxes and all other stuff to go with
Wow.
insurance, 900. This now I bought the house, 20 years ago, but 23 years ago. What I'm trying to say is, but at that time, that was a lot for me. My mindset was that was a lot of money for me. That's how big I was thinking. So the reason why I'm saying that is I didn't achieve any real success where I was making good money until I left that environment, that Section 8, according to your income environment. Because why? The energy me around me was poverty, meaning people wanted to be in that
Yeah.
situation so they can have a home that they don't have to pay a lot for. But when I went into a situation like most middle class people and put myself in it, I was like, am I going to be able to? And I was able to do it because guess what happened? As my environment expanded, my prosperity expanded with it.
Mm-hmm.
So the message I'm putting out there is this. If you're thinking about expanding and you go expand because that income is going to follow to expand with you.
That currency is going to follow.
That currency is going to follow. Raquel's going to keep correcting me. It's going to follow. Thank you for that though. It's going to follow you. But you have to put yourself in the position for it to follow. Some of
Mm-hmm.
us, I want to get out of this poverty situation, but they won't let go of what I had to let go of that comfort of I don't have to pay this and have this 3-bedroom apartment, living around people that was jealous of me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I got a car. They took a highlighter to it within weeks of me parking a car in the neighborhood. Yeah, man, there's some haters here in the South. This is when I was in South Carolina, but and I had decent vehicles. I was coming up, but then I couldn't stay there.
Mm-hmm.
You can't stay in the hood and do good because the people seeing you do good is gonna make sure you knock you down to where they are.
Right.
So,
Right. Right. Right.
so, so, what are you thinking about expanding to? What have you been denying yourself?
Expanding more with how I work with families.
Mm,
There's so many ways, like working with you, um, and working on the trust. Like there's so many families I talk to about the trust. I'm like, you have this child with special needs. You need
right.
to do this. Like you need to have this strong foundation. And I don't know any other therapist that's talking like that. I don't know any very few people who talk like that. Um,
Right.
so I really appreciate that. Um, parents parents are just like, wow, I never thought about that. I'm gonna think about it more.
Mm,
Like just to me it's like another way of protecting these families. I'm doing my best for the children to reach their potential, and it's just like they're gonna have a better chance of reaching their potential if the family is financially stable and
right.
protected,
Right.
right? And just expanding what I do as far as like hands-on as an occupational therapist, more like teaching families versus actually working one-on-one, so I can have that bigger audience and that hopefully that bigger impact.
Right. So there you go. But well, your chart says you're gonna be off the chain in the coming months. So,
I hope so.
but you got okay. Don't say you hope so. You got to
Okay, so all right, I have
working on
faith.
that.
I have faith. I mean,
You have to see it as if it's already there. Yeah, that's what
yeah,
holds
yeah.
us back. Indy Circus said I ride around to the big ranches and envision my ranch with a little bit from all of them with some changes. Yeah, he lives on a pretty big pop property, so he could do a lot with his property
Wow,
out in South Carolina. Yeah.
that's great.
I used to go fishing with him when I was in that area. Um, that's one thing I need to get back at it. That's my okay. So I'm gonna start first. So one of the things we're talking about things that you really want to do.
Hmm.
One of the things I want to do is I want um a boat to fish on. Take out and I can go fishing. That's my next thing within the
Well, you
next
have to be
year.
specific about a boat because
I know I
you
gotta be
know it could be a
specific.
canoe.
Yeah, no, not a
It could
canoe,
be a
like an
raft.
actual motor on it. What I got to do is go do the research and see which one I want, and then identify that.
Why
So
not just go to a boat place, a boat dealership,
yeah, I
like you did
am.
with the
I'm gonna
car?
go and maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Yeah, maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Just go over to the
Yeah,
boat place. Yeah,
yeah. And it's perfect because it is Lionsgate.
right.
You are in Lionsgate, so go ahead and manifest that.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone, everyone who's watching or who watch after, definitely look up Lionsgate and look up
Well,
what
explain
different
that to us.
astrologers
You brought
say.
it up. Tell us what is
Yeah.
Lionsgate.
So Lionsgate is a portal. It's like 8/8 is the peak day, right? So every repeating number is a portal day. So you have 1/1, January 2/2, 3/3. But there's something about 8/8 because 8 is the infinity sign.
Right.
So that's abundance.
Mm-hmm.
8, even in numerology, 8 is a number of abundance,
Mm.
right? So um, that 8/8 is when it peaks. The first day of Lionsgate is July 26th, all the way to August 12th.
Mm-hmm.
So this is when you actually want to be feeling,
Mm-hmm.
um, envisioning, imagining all the abundance and what will bring the abundance.
Mm-hmm.
Like talk as if you already have it. Dream about it.
Mm-hmm.
Journal before you go to bed and, dream about it. And when you wake up, write about that dream, you know. Um, just constantly remind yourself that you are abundant and just
Mm-hmm.
what is it that you want to do that connects you with your abundance.
Right. Um.
Now, the
Go ahead.
thing is, though, Here's something else. If you are thinking negatively, you're also magnifying that in the Lion's Gate.
Oh, gotta be careful.
So you have to be careful. Exactly. You have to stay very positive. That's why yesterday when I was feeling so heavy, I was like, "Oh my God, I'm in Lion's Gate. I don't want to feel like this because this will magnify."
Mm.
Um, and it's just something was going on in the ether because I wasn't the only person feeling that. You were saying you were feeling that way, and then other people that I know were saying that they
It
felt
was
really
really
off
off
yesterday.
yesterday for real.
Yeah. Um,
When was not? What year was 9/11? Was that 2021?
no,
No, I mean that's
2001.
2001. 2000.
Yeah. Hmm.
2000. 2021.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
like, whoa.
So, uh, okay, because we got 9/9/2025 coming up. That's
Yeah, I'm
all
sure that's going to be a pretty powerful day too because it's
yeah,
999.
right. It's 999. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
still it still comes out to 89. What is it?
Hmm.
Does it? Okay, 9.
Yeah, it comes up to 9. 25,
Mm-hmm.
7 plus 2, 9.
Yeah. It's yeah, that's I'm interesting in seeing what's happening.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen that day?
Yeah, I know.
September's might be a rocky month. September might be a rocky month this time around. Yeah.
Well,
When you was running, telling all that about the Lionsgate, it started to okay. Well, let's look at these numbers. And like, okay, this is gonna be. I was advised not to even get on a plane for the rest of the year.
oh, really?
Yeah, I was told. Last time I went and my guy in South Carolina, he's like, don't don't do any plane travel. I could travel, but no plane. So,
Oof.
but yeah, because he wouldn't did a full thing. So he said, "Yeah, this is the year planes that drop out of the sky, all kind of weird things, and things have been happening with planes all year long. You had just the last week, Delta plane engines caught on fire,
Oh, I didn't see
and then
that.
another plane had to turn around because the engine went up and the engine caught on fire and had to come back. Yeah, two planes in the last week, engines caught on fire. So I'm
Uh,
taking this warning. I'm taking that. I'm gonna sit back.
oh,
Indie
I'll be
Circuit.
taking the plane. So I'll be
He, s-
taking some holy water for the
he said,
plane.
"You have a boat. Go get the keychain." Yeah, that's a good idea. Go get the keychain. Then he said, "I'm going to get mine to my blue Chevy 3500 4-wheel drive." So yeah, um, that's a good idea. So all right, wow, it's 9:13. No one called in. No one wants to call in and share anything.
They'll eventually call in. They'll
Yeah,
eventually
it's
call
gonna no, the show's gonna blow up. Watch, you'll see.
in.
It's gonna blow up. Um, I got this new. You might be seeing some strange little posts on my feed and Instagram. So I got this service that just puts out stuff based off my website, but it's not totally tweaked right. It's all AI based. So I got to go in there and tweak it to get it to do what I want. I'm okay with what it's posting right now, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in there and tweak it so it could be announcing the show every week and stuff like that. I just gotta
What is it on TikTok?
on Instagram mostly.
Okay.
Instagram, TikTok, all my there's
Handles.
Elizabeth. Hey. There she go. What's up, young lady? Um what I was saying, on all of them, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and what's the other one? X.
Oh,
So you might have saw, might not. They just started doing this week. I'm trying this new service out that just automatically generates content and just put it out there.
yeah. There was a post alert that came up while we were on the show, so I was like, "How is he doing this?"
Oh, that might have been it. The other thing,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So all right. What else you have to share? Anything else?
No,
No.
guys, we have to live in our
Elizabeth, you're
purpose,
late.
live
You're
as a
late.
ministry,
Sorry.
and abundance.
Yeah.
Pay attention to Lionsgate.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be talking about the idea I came up with. I don't want to put it out there over the airways. Um.
Mhm.
Later on. All right.
All right.
All right. Well, that's it for us today. Next week, y'all need to call in. You can call in on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I have the number up there. Um, we want to hear what you have to say. You want to join in. So maybe Elizabeth might have something to say.
Oh, next week is gonna be
Right.
a big
Elizabeth's
week for
right
her.
there.
Next week is a bit. It's actually, yeah. I'm gonna encourage her to call in because it's gonna be a big week for her.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
All right. I'll find out on the back end. And
Yeah.
sorry, Elizabeth, we haven't connected. She sent me so many messages. I have to apologize. It's so hard to respond to the messages because of I've been doing consultations, building up uh, for trust. So right now we have in the works we got some work to do. So all right. Well, everybody, y'all have a good night. We will see you. I'll see you guys on Sunday for Inspiration Sunday. Peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to everyone.
And
Raquel.
paz y mucho, mucho amor.
I want to learn how to roll those R's
It's
because
a biological thing. It's
yeah,
it's
it
actually
gotta
biology.
be. All right, everybody. Peace.